trying to sniff the communist under every rock he sees. For Jordan Peterson, everything looks like it's about to become the USSR. I don't know if what Jordan Peterson's saying is entirely tinfoil hat. Maybe he just went to the store and started buying the aluminum foil. I've heard this guy talk, and every time you see carbon on a thing, you're like, oh, this is globalist, homo-fascist, or whatever it is you want to think it is. Once again, it's Dandan here, responding to another Jordan Peterson clip. This one is called Jordan Just Exposed the Whole Damn Thing. Let's see what he's exposing. Let's see what this is about.
I was noticing the other day, this really...
Gotta love the music, you know, the drama.
Vulgar, pissed me off.
Oh, it pissed him off.
I was on an airplane flying here, and I looked up some additional flights because my flight got delayed. And I looked up the flights on Google from Dallas to Auckland, and when the flights came up, all the flights were listed with their carbon load.
Personally, I think that's great. As a consumer, I should be happy that I can see what is the carbon load of whatever service I'm buying. Right? As someone who does care about the environment, might call me a stupid leftist or whatever it is. I think it's important. I think the environment is important. We know carbon aids in the greenhouse effect. Right, there's specific issues that exist with climate change, and global warming is a part of it, and it's just a reality. So I personally would like this feature. If I could know what's happening, that's cool. I think, for example, I don't have an issue with GMOs, but I would still like to know that I'm buying a product that is genetically modified, and people who do care about it should also know about it, right? It's just like consumer rights or whatever you want to call it.
And I thought, you pricks.
What? Why are they pricks?
How dare you sell me something, airline ticket, and moralize at me at the same time?
You know, with all his talk about like people being narcissistic and making it all about themselves, this is kind of him making it about himself, right? Moralizing at who? What is the moralization here? It's, do you feel bad, Jordy? Biggest brain in the world, Jordan Peterson? Do you feel bad about the fact that you have a carbon footprint? No one's moralizing anything at you. This is just information. We know it's just a fact. Why are you taking it so personally?
It's like, you're airlines, right? Yeah. You run planes? Yeah. Do they produce carbon? Yeah. Are you selling the tickets? Yes. But we want to make you feel guilty about the carbon.
No, that's not. You feel guilty about the carbon. Jordan, they're not making you feel guilty about the carbon footprint. You're the one who feels guilty. It's not their fault. Why are you projecting? Why are you making it seem as if your feelings are somehow their fault? It's not their fault that you feel guilty about it. Maybe you feel guilty because you fly from place to place, doing show after show after show, and then you looked up the tickets and you saw, oh my God, look at this massive carbon footprint that these plane travels have, and now you feel guilty about it. No one's making you feel guilty. That's your feelings. Why are you blaming other people for your feelings? Very narcissistic of you. Very narcissistic.
Well, no, thank you. Thank you very much.
He's actually a fantastic orator.
And all I see in that is, well, what's the next thing? Well, the next...
I'm predicting slippery slope fallacy. And then the last thing he's going to get to is the same thing he always gets to. Some big government, Brave New World, 1984, just like on your neck government. Watch, that's exactly what's going to happen. I can just read the future. I'm Mystic Mac, for those who know what that's a reference to.
Next thing obviously is that there's already a bank, I think a bank in Australia announced this 2 weeks ago. This is what they're offering you. You want to save the planet? We'll send you a report every month that details out the carbon load of all your purchases.
If people want that as a business to offer that service,
you're going to track what I buy.
If you want it.
And you're going to associate each of those purchases with planetary scale damage. And you don't think that's going to go wrong. Because what's the next step? It's like, well, that's easy. So hierarchically rank your purchases by degree of hypothetical planetary damage, and we tax you on that basis. Or maybe we just decide, why the hell do you need to fly anyways? Why are you so important? Why does your...
It's like he's trying to sniff the communist under every rock he sees. He's like, for a hammer, everything looks like a nail. For Jordan Peterson, everything looks like it's about to become the USSR. It's unbelievable.
Concern, your petty business concern, trump the health of the planet. Why should you be allowed to fly at all? I mean, it's a bloody miracle, right?
So why should you be allowed to fly at all? Because you're trying to get to a country that's far away. You want to go for leisure. You want to go for pleasure. You want to go for business. And the way we figure that out is, can you fucking pay for it? If you could go ahead, like, that's just how that works. I don't see what the issue here is. I'm like, where is the legislation? He's just doing a slippery slope into this massive fear mongering right now about what the next step is going to be. So the title of this video is Jordan Peterson just exposed the whole damn thing. Is that what he exposed? That like carbon footprint on tickets is somehow related to like this weird new order that's going to try to make it so you can't fly a plane, and they're gonna allow who's allowed and who isn't allowed to fly a plane. This is tinfoil. If okay, I don't know if what Jordan Peterson's saying is entirely tinfoil hat. Maybe he just went to the store and started buying the aluminum foil. But this video title, Jordan Peterson just exposed the whole damn thing, is definitely tinfoil hat.
A miracle. And if you don't know this, you're not thinking. You free people in a country like New Zealand, you can just hop on a jet. I mean, I know you have to be able to afford the ticket, but if you can afford the ticket, you could just...
Well, who decides who can afford the ticket? Whatever, I'm not getting into that. It's a whole other fucking conversation.
Hop on a jet, and you can go anywhere, and you can buy a car.
Oh,
you can buy a car. Think of that.
Wow, amazing.
And then you can just...
But imagine we built more railways so people didn't have to fly planes within the United States, where a high-speed rail would be just as efficient or be just as comfortable. That might be better, right? I think so. I'd invest in it. As a person of the public, I'm willing to put my tax dollars towards that. And I implore you to do the same thing. And if we can't agree to it, then we can't agree to it. But we use our democratic means, our representation, try to work that together. We don't have to fucking hate each other. If we don't get it done, we don't get it done. But I have what I believe is true, and you have what you believe is true. And that's it. If we can't agree on it, we don't agree on it. But if we can get a majority to agree on it, then guess what? We're doing it. That's how cooperation works. No, I'm not arguing for some sort of authoritarian dictatorship government that's going to stop you from driving and stop you from flying. That's not what's happening here. And I think you'll seldomly find people of a similar political persuasion to mine that are also arguing for the same thing.
Drive somewhere you want to drive, and no one can tell you not to. Yet.
Yet.
And
see,
that's
I know
a
that's
miracle.
where it's going. I knew
it's like,
that's
what
where
makes you
it's
so
going.
important? What your stupid business? Who cares about your pizza restaurant? You're dumping carbon into the atmosphere.
Okay, there's this concept, and I know I keep pausing this without letting. Let's. Okay, but it's on my mind. There's a shareholder and a stakeholder. If I'm a chemical plant, and who cares if I dump chemicals into the water? Well, the people around you care because it's affecting them. Carbon in the atmosphere affects everyone else around you. And at a certain point, the rest of the people, the community at large, becomes not a stakeholder. They hold a stake in your actions. And it becomes the role of government to deal with that. Because if what you're doing is harming everyone else around you, it's not just up to your own devices. There are things that need to be dealt here. And luckily, carbon and its effects on the environment are have been shown. Yeah, they have been shown to be scientifically valid, these concerns. So if we can show that and we can agree on facts, then I don't see what the issue here is. But let's let him talk a little bit because I keep cutting him off.
You don't need to fly. You don't need a car. You might not even need a bicycle. You can just walk.
Is so dramatic.
And you should hold your breath while you're walking.
Yeah. Let's make this as absurd as it can be. Hold your breath while you're walking. Sure. Okay, clapping.
So I see the globalist utopian types, the
You see?
WEF types.
The
they're all
globalist
concerned about
utopian
climate
type.
change.
That's exactly where that's going.
And they're not.
The tinfoil.
I talked to Bjorn Lomborg the other day about this, and Lomborg, I think, knows more about this than anyone else in the world. He figures all the trillions of dollars that have been spent since 2005 on climate remediation. COP27. Well, we tried this 26 times already and it didn't work at all. So the next thing to do is to try it 27 times. It's like he figures that all of the climate remediation we've managed so far, according to the UN's own climate model projections, has reduced the temperature of the planet 1/10,000th of a degree.
So let's try something else. Let's try to educate the public. Let's try to work together. Right? I didn't think you were a person who says if we try 20 times, you might as well give up. Are you the give up type? I'm not the give up type. I think the science is clear. Global warming is an issue. Climate change is real. And we got to deal with it as a population. And we got to work on it, try to work together. The UN has many limitations of why things are difficult. Because it's guidelines, they're not necessarily specific rules. But if we can start small here in our community, your community, try to make a difference, then maybe we can, move on. My Jewish background, my heritage, is Jewish. And there's a saying I like from Hanukkah. Each one of us are one tiny flame, one tiny light, but all together we're a mighty flame. And that's kind of how this is to go. This is a unified effort, and we got to work together. We can't just be isolated. This is just fear mongering. It's once again a slippery slope argument. Take something as innocuous as a carbon on your ticket to mean Big Brother is going to stop you and the globalists are going to make sure you can't fly and use your car and they don't give a shit about your pizza restaurant. Guys, look through this bullshit. This is just fucking bullshit. There's nothing here. He's literally just fear mongering. A slippery slope argument into climate denialism and into actually not dealing with the problem. And now you're just triggered. You've heard carbon, and from now point you've heard this guy talk, and now every time you see carbon on a thing, you're like, oh, this is globalist, homo fascist, or whatever it is you want to think it is. But it's not. It's just not that.